2 seasons ago, Skip Barber put up the challenge to win yourself some sessions at the Skip Barber Racing School. We've already had 2 drivers win themselves one-day racing schools, but we have 1 more season to go to sort out the 15 driver runoff. That first season starts tonight from Lime Rock Park. Join us in just a couple moments' time on RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live. Welcome back to RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live as coverage starts here for the 3rd and final season of the Skip Barber Racing School Championship here on RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live. As always, Randy Chinnett, Alvin Nieves, and Hugo Louis bringing you all the action. And just so there's not any confusion, the Skip Barber Racing School Championship will still be on the service, the car, the series, just with this prize that's on the line, Alvin. This is the start of the final 12-week run.
Yeah, and as you know, we already had 2 seasons. We already know for sure that Felipe Weber and Johnny Gimby, not only they have their own one-day racing school for Skip Barber, but they are also in for that last race shootout that you just mentioned, Randy, with the top 5 of each season. That they're gonna be in this one race, and whoever wins that race, they're gonna win themselves a 3-day racing school.
That it is, and qualifying is currently underway for this first race of the season. And right now, we're seeing the number 5 of Tuan Tron, someone we've seen have decent pace in a handful of races, but we've not seen him start from the front. So that number 5 machine in qualifying currently holds the top spot with just a couple minutes left to go. But there are some fast drivers out there on circuit. You have Greg Seitz, he's putting down some laps. Adecoba Lopez as well, who's getting ready to actually come down through the final corner. Now down this long front straightaway, you see him using all the road as he works himself down this long front straight. And what time is he going to do? It's going to be 57.022, so close, but 6 thousandths off the number 5 of Tuan Tron for now. That number 5 machine looks strong at the moment. And Tuan, Alvin, is one of these drivers we've seen consistently in these races over the past 2 seasons. And I think he would absolutely love to get himself a good opportunity to win one of these championships. And given his general pace, after we have these first 2 seasons through, this might be his best opportunity to snag one.
I think you are right, Randy. We have seen Tuan Tron throughout the previous 2 seasons. You know, he has been there in the running for race wins, but somehow throughout the race, he seems to drop the pace just a little bit, and that is the, I think that is the last thing that Tuan Tron needs to do at the closing stages of the race. He needs to crank up that pace. He needs to be able to be in front. He needs to be able to show that, yes, I am here, I can win. But Randy, I have to say, with the field that we have in here today, Tuan Tron is going to have his work cut out.
That it is another minute left on the clock, but most of the qualifiers have already run. There's still a couple guys who have laps to complete. one of which is Daniel Forgarini, who's working themselves now down the front straightaway, putting in his first time. That's going to be a 57.599, only good for 17th out of 18th out there on the circuit. And short track like this, Alvin, we've seen a couple of these hyper short layouts, less than a 1 minute lap time around this Lime Rock Park circuit in the Skip Barber Formula 2000 race car. And that means a high lap count, but also due to the general nature of the short layout, very, very close in qualifying times. You see right now the top 10, basically out to the top 11, only separated by about 3.5 tenths.
It is, Randy, and also another thing that this track also brings is the fact that because it's so short but also so fast, trying to overtake, that's gonna be really interesting. Especially, I think the premium overtaking spots here usually turn number 1, so very important for everybody coming out of the last turn, out of the just coming out of the last turn, trying to get that good run coming out of turn number 1. That'll be the most important thing in here today.
So as Daniel Forgarini runs down the front straightaway and ends his qualifying attempt, that's going to give the green light for everyone to go to the grid. And so let's run down your starting grid for round number 1 of the Skip Barber Racing School Championship. Tron comes out swinging in season number 4. He puts down pole position with a lap time of 57.016, but he's going to have some company. Adecobo Lopez just behind him in the 57.022, 6 thousandths of a second behind. Adam Rylance and Justin Tipton, they make up row number 2 with David Pina Jimenez and Carl Dronke. They make up that third row. Then you move back, another familiar name, Andrew Picario. He's going to start just inside of that number 8 machine of Alex Saunders. Row 5, you have Greg Seitz and Richard Yolande. Then you have Francois Bollier and Rodrigo Mezes here in row number 6. Christoph Fuchs and Diago Francisco make up row number 7 with Mike McCormick and Daniel Forgarini in row 8. And that leads us to the final row tonight, row number 9, Edwin Valerino and Brian J. Kelly. They're going to round out the 18-car grid today. Alvin, short track, short lap, not a lot of passing opportunities. I'm expecting some drama.
I think you are right, Randy. Very important to try to keep the pace in here, and with the field that we got in here today, trying to stay in front, but more important, trying to stay clean. I think that'll be the key to get a good finish in here today.
It will be, as we're just waiting for a couple of drivers to get themselves on the starting grid, and then we will be unleashing these little Formula Skip Barber 2000 cars around this place for 25 laps. That's another talking point. Short lap means a high lap count compared to some of the GP circuits. But that said, revs start to build. Lights will be on shortly. The green ones go, so Tron gets off with a jump with what I believe is the first pole position of the 2 seasons we've covered thus far. Adecobo Lopez slots himself into P2, and Adam Rylance harassing the mirrors of that number 1 machine into corner number 1, but the top 3 going to be single file. First side-by-side is happening at about P number 4. Justin Tipton and David Pina Jimenez were side-by-side for a moment through that 1 and 2 complex, but now into the only left-hander on circuit, corner number 3. Tire field pretty much get themselves single file. A little bit of a side-by-side in the back, but everyone's single file to corner number 4, Alvin.
Everybody single file indeed now coming here into turn number 5 now, starting to come into this uphill. Really important to get a good run here, because this will serve you through what is West Bend and the diving turn. So you really now really have to nail these turns, and I got a bit of some driver sliding and some driver off track and into the wall. Carl Dronke already into the wall.
Carl Dronke not starting off his season the way he would like. Just going there through corner number 6, pushed a little bit wide, got out onto the grass, and got a little bit of oversteer. He had a little bit of help as well from the 2 machine of Greg Seitz. And for the first time now, everyone's rushing down this front straightaway. And because of that impact, huge cluster of cars working through these first couple corners, basically 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. See Richard Yolande fighting with Greg Seitz. He had another basically half dozen or so cars all right now fighting through the left-hander at turn 3, trying to get themselves back in line. People trying to pick up positions where they can.
Pick up positions, absolutely, but that also has let this dynamic that we see every single race, after lap, when we see this leading group trying to do a bit of a breakaway, and then we get that secondary group. And I think for this leading group, I think we will see just the usual, just single file racing. If you get an opportunity to overtake, then you go for it. But then this second group, I think they will go really aggressive, trying to make as many places as possible.
As we watch our leaders cycle themselves now down this front straightaway, you see Adecobo Lopez going to driver's left into corner number 1 on Tuan Tron. Not quite able to get it done though, but it's basically a 7-car lead group as they work through 1 and 2. As they run, it's Tuan Tron to Adecobo Lopez, to Adam Rylance, to Justin Tipton, to Angie Picario, to David Pina Jimenez, and just lurking in the back is Alex Saunders, about 3 to 4 car lengths back, but he is definitely still a part of this fight and something to think about. When we saw last season, Alvin, towards the end, we saw the iRacing racing team come out swinging at Bathurst. See Adecobo Lopez, one of the lone ones here, show up today. Those guys are quick and they're known for being pretty aggressive. I think Adecobo Lopez is going to make a move on Tuan Tron sooner rather than later.
Well, speaking of making moves, we got a battle here for P11. Rodrigo Metz, Diogo Francisco, and Francois Boulay, and also Mike McCormick also making a move here on Francois Boulay, and I saw some people going side by side.
Yeah, Francois is all the way off on the final corner, Alvin. Sorry about that. Francois trying to get in line, got a bit of a tap. He didn't hit the wall, but forced way off onto the grass, and I think that suspension is damaged for that car-to-car contact. Yes, it is. That car crabbing badly. He's going to come down on a pit lane. That's going to be the end of the day for car number 6.
And this is pretty much one of the things that we see here, and that we see here. You know, we see that secondary group, and they know that they really have to go because they see that leading group. They are going and they're going, and pretty much the instinct is, I need to make positions, I need to catch them, and well, sometimes these things happen.
Coming up now, up the uphill section, the number 5 of Tuan Tron. He went defensive through the uphill, and Adecobo Lopez bounced now to driver's right. Do that first right-hander now coming back down the hill into the final corner. Number 1 of Adecobo Lopez has the favorable position, and Tuan Tron gonna get freight train, lose 1 spot, gonna lose 2 spots. Andrew Picario gonna look to make it 3 wide and jump 4 drivers at once, 4 wide down your front straightaway at Lime Rock Park, and Andrew Picario goes from 5th to 2nd, 3 wide still in the corner number 1. Adam Rylance is going to reign supreme there, and Tuan Tron is the one who kind of started that big accordion effect. He went super passive and super defensive into the right-hander at the uphill turn number 5, and because of that, he had absolutely no momentum up through the back straight or through West Bend. He got freight trained, and Andrew Picario, fantastic move to get himself to P2.
And a fantastic move, but now Tuan Tron fighting here, taking P4 out of Justin Tipton, and now trying to get back into the league. And I think, Randy, this is something that we see from Tuan Tron. We know that he can win, you know, we know that he has the pace, but sometimes those little mistakes, especially on a track like this, from all the places that he could have done it, he did it at the worst place. And well, he went from 1st to 5th, and now, well, he's back to P4, but now he has a long way to go.
That he is Andrew Picario, who's your new 2nd place runner, already under attack from Adam Rylance. Rylance ducks to driver's right. Let's see, does he going to be able to get that move done? I believe he is. Looking at your race lead, Adecobo Lopez up to a pretty comfortable margin because of that 4 wide moment, Alvin. You see him about 4/10 of a second, and that may not sound like a lot, but at a track like Lime Rock Park, with as close as the lap times are, as we said earlier, 3/10 of a second divided the entirety of the group pretty much, divided the top 10. Half a second is a pretty sizable lead, only 6 laps in, and given that he all got it on that one moment, that single lap when he actually took up the race lead, he has a bit of breathing room already. That said, Adam Rylance, who now is in P number 2, has the opportunity to work the slipstream going down into corner number 1.
Yeah, and you know, for a track like this, yeah, 3/10, even half a second, it is a lot, absolutely. And then when you consider, you know, these cars, they are relatively underpowered, so you are depending pretty much on slipstream. And this track, yeah, pretty much the only part that you will really benefit from the slipstream is going into turn number 1. As for the rest of the track, yes, you can do slipstream, but because of the nature of the track, it is really hard.
Through the right-hander, through the left-hander, and then the right-hander at corners number 3 and 4. You see Adecobo Lopez still managing that gap. It's down to 3/10 of a second. Adam Rylance last time by took out about 1/10 and a half. Andrew Picario, though, looking to not make it that easy for him. You have Tuan Tron lurking behind Andrew Picario as well. So it's turned into a bit of a 4-car pack, and that little 3-car group is reeling in the one of Adecobo Lopez. The Ibericans, I think, Alvin, they're used to being able, I don't want to say hot lap, but they're used to being able to hop into some of these races. You see Tuan Tron push a little bit wide. Let's see, how is Adecobo Lopez going to deal with this bit of pressure that's coming? The 4 of Rylance looks to go inside, but that door gets shut, and Picario bounces on the outside, side by side through corners number 1 and 2. The inside line is generally preferred here, but you can make the outside line work, but not today. Precario gonna get stuck in third for now. Jacobo Lopez, that gap came down very quickly. We just said 1 lap ago that he had a decent amount of breathing room. Now the 4 of Rylands, 8 of Precario, and the 5 of Tron are all there, with the likes of Tittum and Saunders not following in far behind.
And definitely that moment from Adam Rylands trying to look for that move. He had to lift out the throttle, and that, yes, that allowed Andrew Precario to have a look. But also, as you just mentioned, P5, P6, Justin Tipton, Alex Saunders, they were also able to close into this group. So from what it looked like a 3-car breakaway, now it's pretty much like a 6-car breakaway.
Down this front straightaway, we got a spinner. I'm not sure who that is in the background, who's off in the graph. I believe it is Diago no, it is not Francisco.
Richard Yellen.
Number 11 machine, yes, Richard Yellen. He spun, but he's going to be able to get that car rolling again. Leaders work through 1 and 2, and no changes for position just yet. I think there were some side-by-side moments, but no one pounced just yet. And as you said, Alvin, turning into a 5. Right now, it's just a 6-car group, as they miscount the cars here. 5 behind the leader, and that 7-car in line, David Pina Jimenez. He is getting closer and closer every single time through. He's a 10th.5 quicker than Alex Saunders last time by. Note that Alex is that last car in line in that 6-car group, so we might be seeing that gap come down just a little bit.
And Alexander's just lagging just a little bit behind from this group, and I think that is what is allowing David Peña Jimenez to close that gap just a little bit. But now coming here into the last turn number 7, diving turn. Let's see if Adam Rylands can get a good run here from Jacobo Lopez, and looks to the inside. Jacobo Lopez looks to the inside as well, tries to block, but now Adam Rylands into the outside, going side by side into turn number 1. There's a slight bit of a lead, but Jacobo Lopez trying to bounce back going into turn number 1, and Duan Tran also trying to look on the outside, and that also allows Andrew Precario to look on the inside, now on the outside, but everybody single file again.
Everyone single file again as they work through the corner number 3, which is adequately called the left-hander because it's the only one on the circuit. They work through corner number 4 now, and now because of that side-by-side moment, Jacobo Lopez has a little bit of breathing room. You saw Adam Rylands, he had to fight with Andrew Precario because Precario was looking up the inside of Tron, and well, the way the lines worked, Adam Rylands lost just enough momentum that Andrew Precario was able to put a nose underneath that 4 machine, so Rylands not able to get that car turned in for corner number 2, I think the way he ideally would have wanted. That said, this entire 4 or 5 car pack, I think, is quicker than the 1 machine, especially with the slipstream. Down the long front straightaway they come again. Huge amount of draft in these little Formula Skip Barber 2000 cars. A lot of drag. They punch a sizable hole in the air, and they're not going very fast, so the effect gets multiplied because of the car's speed. You see the 4 machine at the curb on the inside through the exit of corner number 2. That gonna upset the car a little bit. There's a handful of curbs like that here, Alvin. There's some you can use relatively comfortably. For example, the curbs on the outside of this corner right here, and including that final corner, you can tap that curb that's going on the outside. It's relatively flat. However, through the first couple corners, those inside curbs are actually pretty steep, and you need to try to keep off of them.
You need to keep off of them indeed, but like you just mentioned, now coming here, we got a big curve here, and it's very important for this track. If you want to get a good lap, you really have to use those outside curves. Now coming here into the last turn, and Randy, I don't really want to jinx it, but you know, all this drafting, and I think something that we have seen in the previous 2 seasons, it may come to haunt some of the drivers here in that leading group, and that is too much drafting, and we can see some engines getting boom.
Yeah, for those who are unaware, we've seen a couple times in these cars, the Skip Barber Formula 2000 cars, and I believe this does expand to the real world. They are not built to be slipstreamed for long periods of time, and by long periods of time, I mean over the course of one of these race distances. And you can get the effect that you sort of might see on a NASCAR stock car at a track like Daytona or Talladega. What ends up happening is, although you're getting the slipstream and getting speed, that also means the engine is going to be getting less air to cool it down, less air flowing over the radiators to cool the water that inside of that radiator that is cooling the engine. And we've seen people pop motors in this series in the past because of what's happening with the draft over the course of these runs. The temperatures is getting out of control. We saw that in the first season at Okayama most notably. But here comes the number 4 machine of Rylands down this front straightaway. Jacobo Lopez again defends to the inside, and they're also 2x2 behind. Tron again looking to the outside of Precario. See the number 4 of Rylands doesn't really go for the move this time. I think he realizes that if he looks up high, he's going to bring Precario into the picture, and he's going to have to try to defend that position from him as well. I think I actually think we're in a situation, Alvin, where Rylands is either going to wait until the very last lap to make his move, or he's going to try to make the move somewhere else on the circuit rather than going into corner number 1, which is going to be difficult. But that might be the only place he can get Jacobo Lopez not defending. And actually, as I speak about that, up the hill, the number 1 machine of Lopez, not very good. But no, Rylands not close enough to make the move.
And I think that's pretty much what it's going to take for Adam Rylands if he wants to get a move here and try to get the race win. He needs to get Jacobo Lopez perhaps to make a little bit of a mistake somewhere else on the track. We saw that Jacobo Lopez, yes, he can make that mistake. And saying that, Jacobo Lopez and Adam Rylands going here, battle for the lead here into turn number 1, but also for P3, but Tuan Tran stays behind, and Jacobo Lopez takes a better line through the inside and keeps defending, and Adam Rylands still has to comfort himself with being second place for now.
Still, this 6-car group very, very tight. From Lopez to Rylands, Precario, Tron, Titten, and Saunders. All of these drivers basically in the same 1/10 of a second within lap times every single time around this circuit. Jacobo Lopez made that slight mistake that last lap, but happened on the final corner, and as we've seen, all he does really is he just pitches that car all the way down to the grass, and then when Rylands goes to make that move, he basically brings the car back up the racetrack a little bit, which is fine because he's not blocking the 4. A lot of people might define that as making a secondary move, but you are allowed to move within that box so long as it's not within a reaction to the other driver. You see again, the number 4 of Rylands goes to driver's right, and this time I think he has to do it, because if he waits, Precario 100% goes for it. The number 4 machine noses ahead as they work into corner number 1, but the inside line immediately comes away of the 1 machine as they work themselves through 1 and 2. That grip strip down on the bottom, Alvin, the way the corner is profiled, it's almost like in some ways a miniaturized version of the carousel at the Nürburgring. It's like at the apex there's all sorts of banking, but if you push up a little bit wide, it's like it flattens off and you will fall off onto the shelf.
It is indeed, and I think that is what Jacobo Lopez is really taking the advantage. That's it for Adam Rylands. If he wants to make that move, I think he needs to get Jacobo Lopez as much to the inside as possible so that he can get the worst entry possible that way. Adam Rylands, even though he will be on the least preferred line, he could still get a better entry than Jacobo Lopez, and I think that is what it's going to take.
See, Adam Rylands saw a door that was open and Jacobo Lopez shut it. That was a little bit questionable. That could be seen as the number 1 machine responding to the 4 machine, but because of this, Andrew Precario, I think likely going to be able to get the door open, and indeed he does. Andrew Precario picks up that 2nd spot, and that one was a little bit close, Alvin. Jacobo Lopez sort of picked his line, and when he did so, he left a little bit of a door open, and then he could shut it after the 4 machine looked to go through it. That was a little bit closer on the number 1 machine of overstepping the boundaries.
Yeah, it could be a borderline lobby, but you know that Adam Rylands definitely paid the price there with trying to slow down, and that allowed Andrew Precario now to move here into P2. So now really interesting how Adam Rylands will he be able to respond and get back to P2.
I will say what's interesting though, Alvin, about this championship is that we've generally seen the front runners in this series. When they get to these circuits where there's all sorts of draft, for 2nd place, 3-car scrap starting now. Adam Rylands, Andrew Precario, and Tuan Tran 4 wide earlier, 3 wide this time into corner number 1 and 2, and they're going to make it stick. The 5 of Tuan Tran gets to the inside of Precario. He makes a pass there, but isn't able to get through on Adam Rylands. So, who says you can't go 3 and 4 wide at Lime Rock? These guys have done it twice, and they've been clean both times through. Well done by pole sitter Tuan Tran as we're inside of 10 laps to go.
Inside 10 laps to go, and that battle for 2nd really heating up, but the more they battle, the more Jacobo Lopez says, you know what, thank you very much, you guys keep battling, I'll try to break away.
Breaking away is exactly what he's done. The gap was 0.3 of a second last time through, and I have to say, I think that margin has stretched out to about 0.6. And considering how much tight the margins are right now, that 2nd group is going to have to work together if they have any hope of catching that race leader. Either that or Addy's going to have to make a mistake, and he's been pretty much picture perfect. This time, Adam Rylands goes hyper defensive down to the inside line. Tuan Tran going to look in the middle, and they're not going to quite get side by side. A little bit of overlap between Precario and Tuan Tran as Justin Tipton's in the picture as well. A little bit of overlap between him and Precario, but for the most part, they keep it single file through 1 and 2 into the left-hander at 3.
I think pretty much we saw the example of all that battling, and Jacobo Lopez now being able to dictate the pace. He moved all the way to the right side to break the draft, but Adam Rylands really had to move to the right side, not only to do the draft, but also trying to beat the move from 2-on-Tron, which he was coming with a big head of steam, and that's pretty much unless they really start cooperating from P2 all the way to P6, Aracoa Lopez will have the race win in here today.
So down through the final corner they come and onto the front straightaway, and I expect to see Adam Rylands practically mowing the grass down here on driver's right, and indeed he does. He goes defensive, and you see 2-on-Tron, he pulls out of the slipstream early, so not looking to defend it, or excuse me, not looking to attack the 4 machine, so you immediately see Adam Rylands take back that preferred line, the outside groove into 1 and 2, takes the preferred corner. As I think you're right, Alvin, they're starting to sort of work together. Last time through wasn't quite the lap times they would have wanted to reel in that 1 machine, but these guys are getting a little bit more patient with each other in the second pack. I think they realize there's an opportunity to potentially catch this 1 machine within the last 6 laps.
Trying to catch him indeed, but I also think for 2-on-Tron, he wanted to go for that P2, but he also realized, like we were just mentioning, you know, you have to also take care of the car because too much slipstreaming, and well, that engine can just say goodbye. And I think for 2-on-Tron right now, it's more of a matter of trying to work together inside of trying to fight for P2.
Another close fight on the racetrack is happening further down the field. The 17 and the 18 is Mike McCormick and Daniel Forgarini. Number 17 machine of McCormick is just ahead as they're going to come out onto this front straightaway. They're going to be side by side for second as well. 2-on-Tron to the outside of Adam Rylands, and he's not going to be able to get the job done. Let's look back to McCormick and Forgarini. They're going to be side by side. 18th to Danielle out to the outside line, and we've not seen this work yet today. And again, not going to work for the 18 machine. Inside line reigning supreme. A lot of grip down there with the grip strip that has been re-tarmacked a couple times. 17 gets a little bit loose, but Mike McCormick able to hold on.
So pretty much for everybody, this is pretty much you try to keep your momentum, and at the slightest mistake that you see your opponent make, that's when you try to make that move. And I pretty much, this is what we are seeing in here today. You keep your momentum, you get rewarded with a good finish. You make the slightest mistake, no matter where you are on the track, and you may lose not 1 position, you may even lose up to 5 positions.
Well, especially in this second pack, which is 5 cars deep, and 2-on-Tron, tired of being patient. 5 laps ago, side by side with Adam Rylands, not able to make it stick once again, but he's just harassing that 4 machine. I think they gave it a couple lap buffer to see how they reeled in that 1 car. Well, they didn't at all. That gap has pretty much stayed at about 9/10 of a second between Aracoa Lopez and Adam Rylands. I think 2-on-Tron noticed that, realized there was probably no opportunity to reel in your race leader, so now he's going to start hopping all over the back of the 4 machine, start trying to make moves wherever he can to get into that second spot. You know, 2-on-Tron wants to snag a race win in this series. He's been one of the competitive drivers over the past 2 seasons. We've not seen him be able to close one of them out. He's not going to be able to do it today, but I think he wants that P2, especially after snagging pole.
I think for 2-on-Tron, I think this will be one of the best finishes that he's had in this Skip Barber championship, going all the way to season 2, which is when we started. So now 2-on-Tron coming here into the inside. So I'm really surprised that Adam Rylands opened that door for 2-on-Tron to be able to go by. But you know what? Regardless, 2-on-Tron now onto P2.
Yeah, well done by 2-on-Tron. Not sure if there was a bit of you know, maybe Rylands thinks the 5 machine has a bit of speed and can actually lead this pack over the closing laps to the number 1 machine, Aracoa Lopez. But I think that ship has pretty much sailed. It's out to a 1-second lead now as they work themselves down this back straight through the uphill section. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to reel in that gap at all. The 5 of 2-on-Tron now has Adam Rylands to deal with very closely, who has not given up any speed whatsoever. And you still have the likes of Macario, Tipton, and Saunders in the 3 cars following behind, and those 3 drivers have been very patient. Really, it's been these top 2 that have been making super aggressive moves. As you see now, they're going to come down this front straightaway, and the number 4 machine of Rylands has a bit of slipstream. Is he going to throw it up the inside of the 5? It doesn't look like it. So it looks like the 4 of Rylands, Alvin, is actually just going to sit there and is content with working with the 5 of 2-on-Tron here for the moment.
I'm really surprised that Adam Rylands just didn't took the inside up. Even more when we consider that pretty much the inside line has been the preferred line going into turn number 1. So yeah, I think you are right. Adam Rylands, perhaps he's just happy they're running there in P3. But you know what? Also, this is a short track, so time is running out. Once we cross the start finish line, it's gonna be 2 laps to go.
That it was inside of 3 laps to go right now, and that's one thing that's been somewhat confusing. You see the number 1 machine, Vatico Lopez, pushes a little bit wide through corner number through the uphill right-hander at corner number 6. It's not overly, small mistake, but nothing big. Doesn't leave himself a lot of spot. As actually the 1 machine is still swerving back and forth down this front straightaway, even though he is well clear. The 3 and the 8 are now going to work side by side. Saunders and Precario into corners number 1 and 2, side by side, and Precario has that preferred line. We've not seen the outside line work yet, and it's not going to work again this time. I think what needs to happen, Alvin, is watching these people as we're inside of 2 laps to go. If you're going to make that move at turn 1, you really have to push and pinch that driver on the inside groove in order to make that stick. We've not seen anyone do that yet.
And I think this has to do more, if you pinch him, yeah, you will definitely get the advantage going into turn 1, but you also have to consider with the speed that they are driving, you're also really trusting the driver on the inside to brake a bit early, because he's gonna track out, and perhaps from taking that position, it can be two drivers taking out each other.
So off the final corner they come, and the white flag going to be in the air for the number 1 machine of Vatico Lopez. The gap to the race lead has come down from 1 second to within 0.8. So the number 5 machine of Tuan Tron is quicker, but not nearly enough to reel him in. Through corner number 1, though, all of your top 6 going to stay single file. The 4 of Rylands, is he going to make a move? Well, I think it's going to be hard for him to do so for now. Through the left-hander at corner number 3, and then through the 4th corner at 4. A little bit of a extended chicane here on this part of the lap, and the 4 of Rylands still hounding the back of Tuan Tron, but he didn't look to make a move into that first corner. Now up the uphill at corner number 5, and again, the 4 machine gets a little bit of a run, but not enough. And they still haven't closed in on the 1 machine of Vatico Lopez. Not nearly enough to bring that gap down. So while Tron is quicker, I think it might be just enough. Through the final corner, though, will Vatico Lopez have enough speed, or will Tron pick up the 6 screen down the front straightaway? He's working the draft, but no, not going to be nearly enough for the number 5 of Tuan Tron. Vatico Lopez is going to come out swinging and win the season opener here at Lime Rock. You're going to see Tuan Tron pick up P2, Adam Rylands 3rd with 4th and 5th. Precario and Saunders rounding out your field. Look for other cars coming across now your start-finish line. As everyone coming through, had Fogarini and McCormick very close at the line, and Fogarini picked that spot up. Excuse me, McCormick picked that spot up. That was for 11th place. And everyone else pretty much coming over the line one at a time. So with that, let's go down to your post-race results for the season opener here in Lime Rock. Well, it was a big run for Iberica Racing Team driver Vatico Lopez. Tuan Tron was the driver who took the pole, but he left the door open, he pounced, and no one was able to get by the 1 machine. Tuan Tron in 2nd with Adam Rylands 3rd, Andrew Precario 4th, and Alex Saunders rounding out the top 5 here tonight. Justin Tipton takes home the 6th spot with Greg Seitz in 7th. David Pina Jimenez, Christoph Fuchs, and Diego Francisco round out the top 10. Mike McCormick ends up 11th. Daniel Fogarini in 12th. Brian Kelly 13th. Edwin Valario 14th. Richard Yolande 15th with Rodrigo Messes, Carl Dronke, and Francois Boulian rounding out the 18-car field today. And now, Alvin, I've had a look at the schedule, and you're done confusing me here. You said we had Snetterton last week. Next week, we're going to Silverstone National.
Yeah, we're going to Silverstone. My apologies for that, but I was just looking at the whole schedule, and it's really interesting because for this season, I think we are hitting every single British track that we have here in iRacing, including the newest one, Snetterton. Although Snetterton is gonna be left all the way to week number 10, I think that is one of the races that we are looking in here because brand new track and you never know what to expect.
Brand new track indeed, and we'll be at that brand new circuit week number 10. That's going to be November the 14th. That's going to do it for Skip Barbers tonight, the first race of our Wednesday race nights. Join us in a few moments time, though, here in about 5 minutes. Race number 2 of the evening is going to kick off of your Raven Graphics and eSpeed Contender Series. That's going to be the 4th round of their championship. But until then, see you all next time. Bye-bye.